Good afternoon. It is September 7th already. Fall is right around the corner, and I don't know how it is in your neck of the woods, but out here in the desert southwest, it's a little cooler and it feels great. Um, Welcome, and I wanted to share a quick thing. I was listening to NPR driving into Mass this morning, and they were talking about a pastor in Idaho, and I cannot remember his name. And yeah, really, I really wouldn't want to repeat the name on this show. But he is promoting white Christian nationalism, and apparently he's got quite a following up in Idaho. He has a community also in Washington, D.C., and that has gained some popularity, also some notoriety. But it prompted me to start thinking a little bit about nationalism and religion in general. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how many times I've heard people that professed Christianity really attack Muslim countries for being Muslim countries. You know, we look at Iran and we look at Saudi Arabia, and we forget that a lot in the Southeast Asia are Muslim also. But we tend to think that for some reason, a country that is a theocracy under Islam is somehow not okay, and that's proclaimed by the same people who are looking at white Christian nationalism as a theocracy, and that is okay. Where does that come from? Um, I believe I talked a little bit about this a couple weeks ago. If not, I'll talk about it again. But when we look at current events going on, and what religion is really religion unless we can apply it to our lives in the here and now, right? What is it that defines Christ's path? What is it that brings us into an awareness that we are on a path that is in alignment with Christ consciousness? And what is that Christ consciousness? And how do we know that what we're hearing out there is truly of that path? When we talk about Christianity, it started as a Christ path, consciously Christ path um, way of living. Through the ages, through the last 2,000 years, it has taken on a lot of different shades, a lot of different colors. So I want to just kind of reflect a little bit about today, in our world today. How do you discern about what you're hearing for those who are interested in a Christ path, or once maybe were on a Christ path, but you have expanded beyond that and have embraced other spiritualities that quite frankly maybe have more meaning for you today, or have dropped all sense of religion altogether and just followed a spiritual path, whether it's a solitary understanding of spirit or if it's a collective understanding in any particular way of life. And what I have to say about that is very, very simple. The Christ path, Christ consciousness, is based on the energy of the core energy of the universe. Remember, in Christianity, we acknowledge that some energy greater than ourselves, some energy that's tapped into the greater than, right? Had creative influence over the universe, or has creative influence over the universe. That core element is unconditional love. Not the kind of love that we see on a Hallmark movie, right? And I'm not sure that English or Greek really has a word that expresses the love of the core value of the universe. I don't know how else to say that. Even the word metanoia falls short of the energetics of that creative potential and creative impetus. But we know that that core element, core energetic element, is love, that bonding, that glue, that life force energy of the universe that keeps the universe in balance and moving forward. And we know in all kinds of different disciplines that static means death, that we are always in movement toward. So what I would offer as a contemplation is the thought and the belief that God, or however you define that creative energy, is an energy of unconditional love, and from that, unconditional compassion. That is empathetic, it's connecting energy, it's an energy of oneness. You can read that in Scripture. God, make them one as we are one. So it seems to me that, reasonably thinking, it seems to me that when we're discerning what is of that path and what isn't, if it's not rooted in unconditional love and compassion and inclusivity, that it is not of God, the God that the Christian faith at the core believes in. It's not of God. So anytime we hear rhetoric that is hateful or divisive or exclusionary, or basically says that one segment of Earth's creation is somehow superior than the rest, those kinds of concepts, that's not of God. The Christian God is not of God. So when you look at a concept like Christian nationalism, well, right there, nationalism is a divisive energy. America first, or my country, right or wrong. My flag somehow is superior to your flag, whatever it happens to be. If there's divisiveness in there, if there's a tendency toward thinking of the other as somehow inferior or somehow unworthy, or not in alignment with what I think it should be, that's not of God. So when we hear rhetoric around white national theocracy, that's divisive. It's not of God. Now, yes, in the Old Testament, it is written that God told the people to go into Canaan, the promised land, basically. And in order to possess it, the mandate was to kill everyone: pets, cattle, goats, sheep, humans, mothers, fathers, children. Clean the land out. We hear rhetoric around that around Gaza right now, right? Just clear it out and go into that land and possess it. That is old paradigm thinking. And if we're true to the God that Jesus professed, there's no way that makes sense. There's no way. So when we hear rhetoric like that, that tells us that's not of God. When we hear someone proclaiming that this country was founded for me, right? for us, for a particular group. That the whole reason for our being here is to take possession of the nation, take possession of the land. There are two things going on. It's not up to us to possess other species, land. We are part of Earth. We are Earth. We're not some entity out there that can walk in and say, plant a flag and say, I claim this for, I don't know, me. That's not of God. And Jesus was very clear about that. He's the one that talked to the Samaritan woman. He's the one that healed the Roman soldier's child. He's the one that said, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, but give God what is God's. He was very clear about that. What happens many times with, pick a religion, has probably happened in every one of them in one time or another, that we use religion to basically say what we want for ourselves. We create God in our own image. So if I'm warlike, if I'm possessive, if I'm greedy, if I want things to be my way, if I believe that the way I think is the only way that's appropriate to think, and if I believe the rest of creation is there for my taking, I'm missing a core teaching of Jesus. Love that creative energy first. Align with that creative force of the universe, that unconditional love and compassion, and then love one another as that energy loves us. And love, what I mean by that is not an emotion. It's a life force energy bonding, connection, bringing together the diversity that we are and finding our common ground in that diversity and in that inclusion. Anything else in the core Christian value is not of God. In the times that we're in right now, in the United States particularly, but also I think this is a global expression too, we have to be very, very discerning in how we imagine the creative force of the universe. If we imagine that creative force is something that we can ourselves possess and use and be sanctified by to go in and destroy and be destructive and divide and commit atrocities that are just unbelievable if you really dig deep into the news these days. If we attribute all that to that creative force of the universe, we are totally not getting it right. We're totally missing the point. There may be a religion out there that has as a core value the domination of everything else. We even have that in the Judeo-Christian belief system. Genesis is a good example of that. But I think what we're moving into in a new paradigm of oneness and transparency and connection and life, what we're realizing is it demands more of us than just grab, grab, grab. What it invites us to is to go deep within ourselves and find that source within ourselves so that we can also see that source in the other. And not just human others, but in all species. Because I think Jesus was right that we are one. The oneness is in the fact or the idea or the notion that source that's within me is the exact same source that is within you, which is the exact same source which is in the tree outside, which is the exact same source that maybe with our pets, with other animal species, plant species, water, the life-giving water, the empowering fire, the elements, the planet herself. So this is very short, but I just really invite you, think about these things. And let's not get wrapped up in the politics of religion and use the religion to support any kind of ideological position that is not rooted completely and totally in unconditional love and compassion. Be strong out there, be safe out there. Metaphorically, look both ways before you cross the street. The energy is unbelievable. And those of us who are empaths and sensitives, we're being hit by that energy continually. All the anxiety out there that people are experiencing, that you may be experiencing, remember that a lot of that might be coming from the collective itself. Stay with the groups that feed you, that feed your spirit, and that you can support and feed others' spirits. Stay with those tribes. Seek out people that have a sense and a yearning for peace and for that cosmic love, that cosmic life force to be present in the world today. And support that movement, support those movements. And like I always say, it does not matter if you're Catholic or not, if you're Protestant or not, or even if you're Christian or not. Whatever brings you to a realization that you are an incredibly beautiful soul and that you have the life force energy of the Creator itself within you. Remember, I breathe into you the Holy Spirit, and it will be with you throughout all times. I am with you always. The promises are there. The assurances are there. Just remember that as this week moves along. And remember, anything that's divisive cannot survive because it will completely divide itself into oblivion. We're beginning to see the elements of that in the country today, in the world today. So bless you, God bless you. In whatever tradition you are rooted in, may that energy bless you also. And let's just hang in there together and we'll get through this one way or another. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.